Good evening. I am your host, Thomas Beaster. Tonight we will explore 3 sea disasters that occurred in the early 20th century: the Titanic, the Lusitania, and the Britannic. You will learn why these ships sank and how they are important in history. Days after leaving England, while sailing through an ice field, she scraped against a humongous iceberg that ripped through her hull. The damage caused flooding that breached the Titanic's hull bulkhead and ultimately doomed the ship. She sank within 2 hours, resulting in the deaths of over 1,500 people. Not only that, we can't completely blame the iceberg. A series of regrettable mistakes were made, including 1. The ship did not have enough lifeboats for all of its passengers. 2. The passengers nor the crew were trained in what to do in an emergency. The crewmen, whose job was to look out for obstacles such as other ships and icebergs, did not have binoculars. He was not able to see the iceberg until it was too late. When the lookout did alert the crew that an iceberg was ahead, the helmsman tried to turn the ship away from the iceberg. Unfortunately, the ship was designed to withstand only head-on collisions, and the side of the ship was much weaker and easily damaged by the giant iceberg. 5. There were no rules for wireless messages. The airwaves were clogged with silly messages from rich passengers to their friends. By the time the Titanic sent an SOS, other ships had turned off their radios for the night and did not hear it. Sadly, many people died in the result. History will remember the Titanic as the disaster that inspired many new rules to ensure passenger safety in the event of another sea accident. While new regulations improved passenger safety by 1915, the world was at war. Germany, who was fighting against Great Britain, felt that any British ship at sea was fair game for German submarines. Germany even warned Americans that they would be in danger if they traveled on British ships. America was not yet involved in the war, and many people did not believe a German vessel would shoot an unarmed passenger ship. They were wrong. The Lusitania left New York for Great Britain and carried British and American passengers. Just off the coast of Ireland, a German U-boat fired a single torpedo that hit the bow of the ship. A subsequent explosion in the hull, likely from the loose coal dust and the flames from the first explosion, ultimately doomed the ship. It only took 19 minutes for the vessel to sink. Of 1,559 passengers, only 764 survived. Most of the American passengers were killed. History will remember the Lusitania as the disaster that motivated the United States of America to join the First World War on the side of British and her allies. In addition, German U-boats earned a notorious reputation. By November of 1916, the World War lingered on. The gigantic
was the younger, much improved, and even larger sister ship of the Titanic. Because the war was still ongoing just before the Gigantic was finished, the British Admiralty called her to duty as a hospital ship. She was renamed the Britannic. The Britannic was also painted with white with red crosses so that no enemy vessel would mistake her for a fighting vessel. One would think a hospital ship would be safe from attack except for these two facts. German submarines were bullies, underwater mines, everyone didn't care who you were. Having learned from the Titanic disaster, the Britannic was built to be the safest ship in the world. The crew was well trained and there were more than enough lifeboats. However, sometimes people break the rules. When traveling on the Mediterranean Sea, passengers open their cabin portals for fresh air to get relief. Unusually hot conditions inside the ship. This was against the rules. On November 21st, 1916, it is thought that the Britannic hit a single mine that blew a small hole in the hull. Because of the open portals, the ship flooded very quickly. The Britannic sank after 55 minutes of the initial explosion. Captain Charles Bartlett remained as the ship as it sank and calmly walked off before it went under. He swam to a lifeboat and took charge of the rescue from there. After only a few minutes, another ship was what's that say? After only a few minutes, another ship was on the scene to pick up survivors. History will remember the Britannic as an innocent victim of a bad war, and the Britannic's captain will be remembered as a hero.